The camera doesn't lie, but my wife sure as hell does. I'm staring at the security footage on my phone, watching Lila stumble through our front door at 2:47 a.m., her hair messed up and her blouse buttoned wrong. She told me she was at a late team meeting with her boss, Evan. The timestamp says otherwise. My name's Sam Harrigan, and I've been married to a liar for 3 years. I just didn't know it until tonight. I'm sitting in my secret gym above Murphy's hardware store, the place I co-own with my brother Joe. It's 3:15 a.m., and I should be home sleeping next to my cheating wife. But instead, I'm here doing my 200th rep on the bench press, trying to work off the rage that's been building in my chest like steam in a pressure cooker. 3 months ago, Lila laid down the law. No more gym, Sam. Those girls there stare at you, and it makes me uncomfortable. If you want to work out, do it at home. I said, understood. Translation. Time to get creative. The apartment above the hardware store has been empty for years. Joe and I fixed it up, installed some equipment, and now I've got my own private sanctuary. Lila thinks I've been coming here to do inventory and paperwork. She's half right. I've been taking inventory all right, just not the kind she thinks. I set the barbell back on the rack and grab my phone. The Find My app shows Lila's location as home, but I know better now. She's been turning off her location sharing during her late meetings. Amateur mistake. The phone logs still show when she does it. My phone buzzes. A text from Lila. Working late again tomorrow. Don't wait up. Love you. I stare at the screen, my jaw clenching. The audacity of it. She's lying to my face through a text message at 3 a.m. while I'm watching security footage of her sneaking home from wherever she really was. I scroll through my contacts and find Kelsey, Lila's best friend and social media maven. Her Instagram is public and she posts everything. If Lila was really at work, Kelsey would know. She always knows. Bingo. Posted 2 hours ago, a photo of Lila and Evan at Rossetti's, the upscale Italian place downtown. They're sitting close, sharing a bottle of wine, and Lila's hand is on his arm. The caption reads, "When your bestie finds her perfect match, so happy for these two love birds." I screenshot the post before Kelsey realizes her mistake and deletes it. Too late, sweetheart. The internet is forever, and so is my memory. Evan Pierce. 41 years old, Lila's boss at TechFlow Solutions, drives a white Tesla Model S, lives in a rental house on Maple Street, and apparently thinks he's untouchable. He's about to learn otherwise. I grab my gym bag and head downstairs to the hardware store. Joe left a note on the counter. New security cameras came in. Want me to install them at your place? Perfect timing, brother. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. I drive home through the empty streets of Millbrook, Maine. Our little coastal town is the kind of place where everyone knows everyone else's business, except when they don't want to. Lila picked the wrong place to have an affair. In a town of 8,000 people, secrets have a way of coming to light. The house is dark when I pull into the driveway. Lila's car is there, parked crooked like she was in a hurry, or tipsy, or both. I slip inside quietly and head straight to the basement. If Lila wants me to work out at home, I'll work out at home. I've got a few pieces of equipment down here. Nothing fancy, just enough to keep up appearances. But the real gym is at the store, and that's where the planning happens. I'm toweling off when I hear footsteps upstairs. Lila's moving around, probably getting ready for bed, probably rehearsing her lies for tomorrow. I wonder if she practices in the mirror. My phone buzzes again. Another text from Evan. Thanks for dinner. Can't wait for tomorrow. Wrong number, jackass. Or maybe not. Maybe this is his way of marking territory, letting me know he's moving in on my wife. Either way, he just handed me ammunition. I forward the screenshot to myself and delete the original from my phone. Then I sit down at the workbench and start making a list. First item, surveillance. I need to know their patterns, their meeting spots, their routines. Knowledge is power, and right now I'm powerless. Second item, documentation. Photos, texts, receipts, anything that proves what's happening. Not for a lawyer. I don't want a divorce. I want revenge. Third item, allies. In a small town, reputation is everything. Lila and Evan are about to learn that lesson the hard way. I hear Lila's footsteps overhead, moving toward our bedroom. She's probably wondering where I am, but not enough to come looking. That's the thing about cheaters. They're too wrapped up in their own guilt to pay attention to anyone else. I climb the stairs and slip into bed beside her. She's pretending to sleep, but her breathing is too shallow, too controlled. Guilty conscience will do that to you. "How was work?" I whisper. She tenses up. "Fine, long meeting, very boring." I bet. Evan seems like a boring guy. She rolls over to face me in the dark. "What's that supposed to mean?" "Nothing, just making conversation. You talk about him a lot lately." "He's my boss, Sam. Of course I talk about him." "Right, your boss, the one who texts you at midnight about dinner meetings." Silence. I can practically hear her brain scrambling for an explanation. "Those weren't for me. He was texting about a client dinner. Group thing. Must have been a small group. Kelsey's Instagram made it look pretty intimate." She sits up fast. "You're checking up on me?" "I'm checking Instagram. Kelsey posts everything, remember? You taught me that." Lila gets out of bed and starts pacing. Even in the dark, I can see she's panicking. Good. Panic leads to mistakes, and mistakes lead to evidence. "Sam, you're being paranoid. Evan and I work together. Sometimes we have dinner meetings. It's perfectly normal. At Rossetti's, on a Tuesday night, just the two of you, with wine? It wasn't just us. Other people were there. Funny, they didn't make it into the photo." She stops pacing. "What photo?" "The one Kelsey posted. The one where your hand is on his arm and you're looking at him like he hung the moon." I hear her fumble for her phone, probably trying to see the post herself. But Kelsey's smart. She would have deleted it by now once she realized what she'd revealed. "I don't know what you think you saw, but you're wrong. Evan and I are colleagues. Nothing more." "Okay. I believe you." She stops moving. "You do?" "Sure." "Why would you lie to me?" I can feel her relief from across the room. She thinks she's off the hook. She thinks I'm the same trusting husband I was yesterday. She's wrong. "I'm going to make some tea," she says. "Want some?" "No thanks. I'm tired. Long day at the store." She leaves the room, and I hear her padding down the hallway to the kitchen, probably texting Evan, warning him that I'm suspicious. Or texting Kelsey, telling her to be more careful with her posts. Doesn't matter. The damage is done. I know what I know, and now I know what I need to do about it. I close my eyes and start planning. Tomorrow, I'll install those security cameras Joe mentioned. Not just at the house, at the store too, and maybe a few other strategic locations around town. If Lila wants to play games, we'll play games. But we'll play by my rules. The next morning, Lila's phone is buzzing before she's even out of bed. "Work emergency," she claims, but I catch a glimpse of the screen when she's not looking. It's Evan, and the message preview shows, "Need to talk about last night." She's in the shower when I make my move. Her laptop is open on the kitchen counter, still logged into her email. I've got maybe 5 minutes before she comes downstairs. I scroll through her recent messages, looking for anything useful. Most of it's work stuff, project updates, meeting requests, the usual corporate nonsense. But then I find a folder labeled Personal Projects. Jackpot. The emails go back 2 months. Innocent at first, Evan asking Lila to review a presentation, Lila offering to help with a client proposal. But they get progressively more personal. Lunch invitations become dinner invitations, work discussions become personal conversations. And 3 weeks ago, the tone shifts completely. "Can't stop thinking about you. Evan, this is wrong, but it feels so right. Lila, my place tomorrow night? Sam works late on Thursdays. Evan. Yes, I can't wait. Lila. I take photos of the screen with my phone, my hands shaking with rage. Thursday nights. She's been telling me she has yoga class on Thursday nights. I've been encouraging her to go, telling her it's good for her stress levels. The shower turns off upstairs. I close the laptop and grab my coffee, trying to look casual, when Lila comes down wearing her bathrobe, hair wrapped in a towel. Morning, beautiful, I say, like I haven't just discovered she's been lying to me for months. She kisses my cheek, and I have to fight the urge to pull away. Morning, I need to leave early today. Crisis at work. What kind of crisis? Client presentation got moved up. Evan's freaking out. Poor Evan. Maybe you should bring him some coffee. Calm his nerves. She gives me a sharp look. Why are you so interested in Evan all of a sudden? I'm interested in your work. I care about what stresses you out. Since when? The question hangs in the air between us. She's right. I haven't been paying enough attention to her work, her life, her needs. Maybe that's part of why she strayed, but that doesn't excuse what she's doing. Since I realized my wife is working too hard and needs more support from her husband. She softens a little. That's sweet, Sam, but I can handle it. I know you can. You're tough. It's one of the things I love about you. The lie tastes bitter in my mouth, but it has the desired effect. She smiles and kisses me again, longer this time. I love you too, she says. Another lie. We're both getting good at this. After she leaves, I call Joe at the store. I need those security cameras installed today, I tell him. All of them? That's a lot of work for one day. I'll pay overtime. This is important. Everything okay, little brother? Joe's 5 years older than me and has been looking out for me since we were kids. He can hear the tension in my voice. Everything's fine. Just want to upgrade our security. Uh-huh. This wouldn't have anything to do with why you were at the store until 3 a.m. last night, would it? You saw that? I see everything, Sam. It's my store too. I consider telling him the truth, but I'm not ready yet. I need more evidence, more proof, and I need a plan. Just having trouble sleeping. Working out helps. Right. Well, I'll get the cameras installed. But Sam? Yeah? Whatever's going on, you don't have to handle it alone. We're partners, remember? I remember. Thanks, Joe. I hang up and drive to the store. Joe's already there, unpacking camera equipment and studying the installation manual. Where do you want them? He asks. Everywhere. Front door, back door, parking lot, and the apartment upstairs. The apartment, why? Insurance purposes. If someone breaks in up there, I want it on video. He nods, but I can tell he's not buying it. Joe's always been able to read me like a book. While he works on the cameras, I handle the customers. Millbrook Hardware isn't exactly bustling, but we get steady business from contractors, homeowners, and the occasional tourist who needs supplies for their rental cottage. Around noon, Marion Reeves comes in looking for paint samples. Marion works at TechFlow Solutions with Lila. She's in accounting, keeps to herself, but she sees everything that goes on in that office. How's Lila doing? She asks while I help her match colors. Good. Busy with work. You know how it is. Oh, I know exactly how it is. That place is like a soap opera sometimes. I keep my expression neutral, but my pulse quickens. Really? Lila never mentioned any drama. Marion glances around to make sure we're alone, then leans closer. Well, I probably shouldn't say anything, but there's been talk about Lila and Mr. Pierce. What kind of talk? You know, office gossip. People saying they spend a lot of time together, working late, going to lunch, that sort of thing. Lila's dedicated to her job, always has been. I'm sure that's all it is, but you know how people talk in a small office, especially when the boss shows favoritism. Favoritism? Lila's gotten 3 raises in the past 6 months. Not that she doesn't deserve them. She's good at what she does. But some people think there might be other reasons. My grip tightens on the paint samples. What do you think, Marion? She shrugs. I think people should mind their own business. But I also think you should know what they're saying, just in case. I appreciate that. Really. She selects her paint colors and heads to the counter. While I ring her up, she adds, "If you ever want to know what's really going on at that office, let me know. I see everything from my desk." After she leaves, I stand there processing what she told me. 3 raises in 6 months. Lila never mentioned that. Where's the extra money going? We share a bank account, but I haven't been paying close attention to the deposits. Time to start paying attention. Joe finishes installing the cameras around 4 p.m. He shows me how to access the feeds from my phone, how to set up motion alerts, how to review recorded footage. "This is pretty sophisticated stuff for a hardware store," he says. "I want to be thorough." "Sam, what's really going on? And don't tell me it's nothing. I know you too well." I consider my options. Joe's going to find out eventually. In a town this size, everyone finds out everything. Better to get ahead of it. "I think Lila's having an affair." He sets down his tools and looks at me seriously. "You think, or you know?" "I know. I just don't know how far it's gone." "With who?" "Her boss, Evan Pierce." Joe nods slowly. "The Tesla guy." "Yeah, I've seen him around town. Smug bastard." "You know him?" "Not personally, but he comes into Murphy's pub sometimes. Acts like he owns the place, tips poorly, treats the staff like servants." "What else do you know about him?" "He's married, but his wife lives in Boston. Something about her job. He rents that big house on Maple Street, the one with the circular driveway. Drives that white Tesla like it's a rocket ship." I file this information away. A wife in Boston. That complicates things, but it also gives me leverage. "What are you planning to do?" Joe asks. "I'm not sure yet, but I'm not just going to roll over and take it." "Good, you shouldn't. But Sam, be careful. Don't do anything that'll get you in trouble." "I won't. I'm smarter than that." "Are you? Because right now you look like a man who's ready to burn everything down." He's not wrong. The rage is building inside me like a wildfire, consuming everything in its path. But I can't let it control me. Revenge is a dish best served cold, and I need to keep my head clear. "I'll be careful," I promise. "Okay. But remember, you've got family here, people who care about you. Don't shut us out." After Joe leaves, I test the camera system. The feeds are crystal clear, the motion detection works perfectly, and the app lets me monitor everything from anywhere. If Lila brings Evan to the house, I'll know about it. But I don't think she will. She's too smart for that, too careful. No, their meetings are happening somewhere else. I need to find out where. I grab my jacket and head out to do some reconnaissance. First stop, Evan's rental house on Maple Street. The house is impressive. 3 stories, wraparound porch, perfectly manicured lawn. The white Tesla is in the driveway, which means he's home. I park across the street and wait. At 6:30, another car pulls up. A red sedan I don't recognize. A woman gets out, blonde, well-dressed, probably in her 30s. She walks up to the front door like she belongs there. Not Lila, someone else. The woman goes inside, and I wait another hour, but nothing else happens. Either Evan's got multiple affairs going, or this is something else entirely. A client, maybe, or a friend. I'm about to leave when my phone buzzes. A text from Lila. "Working late again. Don't wait up. It's Thursday. Yoga night. Except now I know there's no yoga class. I drive to the TechFlow Solutions office building downtown. The parking lot is mostly empty, but I spot Lila's car near the back entrance. Evan's Tesla is parked right next to it. I find a spot with a good view and settle in to wait. If they're really working late, they'll come out separately, probably an hour or two apart. If they're not, at 8:45 they come out together. Lila's laughing at something Evan said, and he's got his hand on the small of her back. They stand by their cars for a few minutes, talking quietly, And then Evan leans in and kisses her. Not a friendly peck on the cheek. A real kiss. Long, passionate, intimate. I take photos with my phone, my hands shaking with rage. The timestamps will prove this happened during her supposed yoga class. They get in their cars and drive away in the same direction. I follow at a distance, keeping my headlights off until we're out of the parking lot. They head toward the waterfront, to a section of town I don't know well. Evan turns into the parking lot of the Seaside Inn, a small bed and breakfast that caters to tourists. Lila follows. I park on the street and watch them go inside together. They don't come back out. I sit there for 2 hours, taking photos of their cars, documenting everything. At 11 p.m., I drive home and wait for Lila to return with her lies about yoga and traffic and whatever other excuses she's prepared. She comes in at midnight, shower fresh and smiling. "How was yoga?" I ask. "Great. Really relaxing. I feel so much better." "Good. You seemed stressed lately." "Work's been crazy, but it's getting better. Evan's really supportive." "I bet he is." She gives me a curious look. "What's that supposed to mean?" "Nothing. Just that it's nice to have a supportive boss." She nods and heads upstairs to bed. I wait until I hear her breathing even out. Then I go down to the basement and start planning phase 2. I've got photos, emails, and witness testimony from Marion. I know their meeting spots and their schedules. Now I need to decide what to do with this information. Divorce would be the sensible option, but I don't want sensible. I want justice. I want them to pay for what they've done to me, to my marriage, to my trust. In a small town like Millbrook, reputation is everything. Lila and Evan are about to learn that lesson the hard way. Friday morning brings a new development. I'm at the hardware store reviewing the security footage from the night before when Marion Reeves walks in with a grim expression. "We need to talk," she says, glancing around to make sure we're alone. "About what?" "About what I saw last night at the office." I set down my coffee and give her my full attention. "I'm listening." "I stayed late to finish the monthly reports. Around 9 o'clock, I heard voices coming from Mr. Pierce's office, Lila's voice and his. They weren't discussing work." "What were they discussing?" Marion shifts uncomfortably. "You. They were talking about you, Sam. About how to handle the situation if you got suspicious." "What kind of situation?" "Lila was worried you were starting to ask questions. She wanted to know what they should do if you found out about them. Mr. Pierce said not to worry, that you were too trusting to figure it out." The insult stings, but I keep my expression neutral. "What else did they say?" "Mr. Pierce said if worst came to worst, they could make it look like you were the problem. That you were paranoid, jealous, maybe even unstable. He said he had connections, people who could help discredit you if necessary." "Discredit me how?" "I don't know. But Sam, these people aren't just having an affair. They're planning to destroy you if you get in their way." I thank Marion and send her on her way, but my mind is racing. They want to play hardball? Fine. I can play hardball too. I spend the morning researching Evan Pierce. Social media profiles, business records, property rentals, anything I can find online. The picture that emerges isn't flattering. Evan's got a history of workplace relationships. His previous job ended abruptly after allegations of inappropriate conduct with a subordinate. Nothing was proven, but he left quietly with a generous severance package. Classic corporate cover-up. His wife, Rebecca, lives in Boston where she works as a federal prosecutor. High-profile job, squeaky clean reputation. She probably has no idea what her husband is up to in his little coastal rental house. I find Rebecca's work email address and start drafting a message. Not to send now, but to have ready when the time is right. Sometimes the threat of exposure is more powerful than exposure itself. Around noon, Joe comes back from his lunch break with interesting news. "Ran into Frankie at Murphy's Pub," he says. "You remember Frankie Morrison? Used to be a cop before he retired?" "Yeah, I remember him. What about him?" "He's been doing some private security work lately. corporate investigations, cheating spouses, that sort of thing. Says business is booming. I raise an eyebrow. Why are you telling me this? Because Frankie mentioned he's been hired to look into some workplace harassment allegations at TechFlow Solutions. Apparently, someone filed a complaint about inappropriate relationships between management and staff. Someone filed a complaint? Anonymous tip came in last week. Companies bringing in outside investigators to look into it? I try to hide my surprise. I didn't file any complaints, which means someone else knows about Lila and Evan, and they're not keeping quiet about it. Did Frankie say who hired him? The company's board of directors. Apparently they take this stuff seriously. Bad for business if word gets out. This changes everything. If there's already an investigation underway, I need to be careful about how I proceed. I don't want to interfere with an official inquiry, but I also don't want to miss my chance for personal revenge. That afternoon, I decide to do some field reconnaissance. I drive to the TechFlow building and park where I can observe the employee entrance. If Lila and Evan are being investigated, their behavior might change. They might get sloppy. At 3 p.m., I spot them leaving together. Instead of heading toward their usual meeting spot, they drive to Harbor Park, a secluded area overlooking the water. I follow at a distance and watch them through binoculars. They're arguing. Lila looks upset, gesturing frantically while Evan tries to calm her down. Their body language suggests panic, stress, fear. The investigation must be making them nervous. Good. I take photos of their meeting, noting the time and location. If they're trying to coordinate their stories or plan a cover-up, I want evidence of it. After 20 minutes, they separate and drive back toward town. Lila heads home while Evan goes to his rental house. I decide to follow Evan. He's on his phone when he gets out of his car, pacing in his driveway while he talks to someone. I can't hear the conversation, but he looks agitated. He keeps running his hands through his hair, a nervous habit I've noticed before. When he goes inside, I park across the street and wait. If he's planning something, I want to know about it. An hour later, a black sedan pulls up to the house. A man in an expensive suit gets out and walks to the front door. Evan answers immediately, like he was expecting this visitor. I take photos of the license plate and the man's face. Later, I'll run the plates and see who Evan's meeting with. If it's a lawyer, that confirms they're preparing for the investigation. The meeting lasts 2 hours. When the man leaves, Evan looks even more stressed than before. He stands in his doorway, watching the sedan disappear down the street, then goes back inside and turns off all the lights. I drive home to find Lila in the kitchen, making dinner. She looks up when I come in, and I can see the strain on her face. "How was your day?" she asks, trying to sound casual. "Busy. Lots of customers. How about you?" "Fine. Normal day at the office." "No drama? No excitement?" She pauses in her chopping. "Why would there be drama?" "I don't know. Marion mentioned there might be some changes coming at your company. New policies, maybe an audit?" Lila's knife slips, and she cuts her finger. Not badly, but enough to draw a drop of crimson. "Are you okay?" I ask, grabbing a paper towel. "I'm fine, just clumsy." She wraps the towel around her finger and looks at me suspiciously. "What did Marion tell you exactly?" "Nothing specific, just that there might be some corporate restructuring. You know how rumors spread in small offices." "Marion talks too much. She doesn't know what she's talking about." "Probably not. But if there are changes coming, I want to be prepared. Your job is important to us." "My job is fine, Sam. There's nothing to worry about." Another lie. She's getting better at them, but I'm getting better at spotting them too. We eat dinner in relative silence, both of us lost in our own thoughts. Lila keeps checking her phone, probably waiting for updates from Evan. I'm planning my next move. After dinner, I excuse myself and go down to the basement. I need to think, to process everything I've learned today. The investigation changes the timeline. I can't wait much longer to act. I pull out my phone and scroll through the photos I've taken over the past few days. Lila and Evan at the restaurant, their kiss in the parking lot, their cars at the Seaside Inn, their secret meeting at Harbor Park. Enough evidence to prove the affair, but not enough to destroy them completely. For that, I need something bigger, something public, something that will turn the entire town against them. I think about Rebecca Pierce, the federal prosecutor in Boston. She's the key to bringing down Evan, but I need to be strategic about when and how I contact her. I also think about the anonymous complaint that triggered the investigation. Who else knows about the affair? And why are they keeping quiet instead of spreading gossip like everyone else in this town? My phone buzzes with a text message, unknown number. We should meet. Tomorrow, 2 p.m., Murphy's Pub. Come alone. I stare at the message, my pulse quickening. Someone wants to talk to me about something, and they're being secretive about it. Could be related to Lila and Evan, or could be something else entirely. Only one way to find out. I text back, "Who is this?" The response comes immediately. Someone who knows what you're going through, someone who can help. I consider my options. It could be a trap, but I doubt it. More likely it's someone else who's been hurt by Lila and Evan's affair. Maybe another spouse or a coworker who got passed over for one of Lila's raises. "I'll be there," I text back. "Good. Order a beer and sit at the bar. I'll find you." The messages stop. I try calling the number, but it goes straight to voicemail with a generic greeting. Upstairs, I can hear Lila on the phone with someone. She's speaking quietly, but her tone is urgent. Probably updating Evan about our dinner conversation, warning him that I might be getting suspicious. Let them worry, let them panic, let them make mistakes, because tomorrow I'm going to find out who my mysterious ally is, and together we're going to bring down the two people who thought they could play me for a fool. The game is about to change, and I'm finally ready to play offense instead of defense. Murphy's Pub at 2 p.m. on a Saturday is exactly what you'd expect in a small Maine town. Half empty, dimly lit, and filled with the kind of people who have nowhere better to be. I order a beer and take a seat at the bar, trying to look casual while scanning the room for potential allies or enemies. The bartender is Nell Murphy, a woman in her 50s who's seen everything this town has to offer and isn't impressed by any of it. She's got short gray hair, calloused hands, and the kind of direct stare that makes people confess their secrets without meaning to. "You're Sam Harrigan," she says, sliding my beer across the bar. "That's right. Do we know each other?" "I know everyone in this town, honey, including your wife and her boyfriend." I nearly choke on my beer. "Excuse me?" "Lila and that Tesla-driving pretty boy. They've been in here twice in the past month, thinking nobody would notice them in the back booth, acting like teenagers, all giggly and touchy-feely." "You saw them together?" "Saw them, served them, listened to them whisper sweet nothings while his hand was on her thigh under the table. Made me sick, honestly. You seem like a decent guy, Sam. You deserve better." Before I can respond, someone slides onto the bar stool next to me. I turn to see a woman in her 30s, professionally dressed, with tired eyes and a grim expression. "Rebecca Pierce," she says, extending her hand. "I believe you know my husband." I shake her hand, my mind reeling. Evan's wife, the federal prosecutor from Boston. She's the one who sent the anonymous text. "Mrs. Pierce, I wasn't expecting—" "Call me Rebecca, and I'm sure you weren't. But we need to talk, Sam. We have a common problem." Nell refills my beer and pours Rebecca a whiskey, neat. "On the house," she says. "You ladies look like you could use it." Rebecca raises an eyebrow at the gender comment, but doesn't correct her. "Thank you." We move to a corner booth where we can talk privately. Rebecca pulls out her phone and shows me a series of photos, Evan and Lila at various locations around town, including some I hadn't seen before. "How long have you known?" I ask. "About 6 weeks. I hired a private investigator when Evan started acting strange. working late, taking mysterious phone calls, being secretive about his schedule. The PI confirmed what I suspected. Why didn't you confront him? Because I'm building a case. Evan thinks he's clever, but he's sloppy. He's been using company resources to fund his affair, expense reports for dinners, hotel rooms charged to his corporate card, even using the company car for personal trips. That's fraud. Exactly. And since TechFlow Solutions has federal contracts, that makes it federal fraud. I can destroy him professionally and personally. I study her face, looking for signs of the same rage I've been feeling. Instead, I see cold calculation. Rebecca isn't just angry, she's strategic. What do you want from me? I ask. Cooperation. You have access to information I need, and I have resources you don't. Together, we can make sure they both pay for what they've done. What kind of information? Rebecca pulls out a tablet and shows me a detailed timeline of Evan and Lila's affair, complete with dates, locations, and financial records. It's more thorough than anything I could have compiled on my own. I need someone on the inside, she says. Someone who can document their activities without raising suspicion. Lila trusts you, even while she's betraying you. That gives us an advantage. What's in it for me? Revenge. Complete and total destruction of their reputations, careers, and relationship. When I'm done with them, they'll be lucky to find work at a fast food restaurant. I consider her proposal. Rebecca is offering me everything I want, but something feels off about her approach. Too clinical, too detached. Why not just divorce him and move on? I ask. Her expression hardens. Because Evan destroyed my trust, my marriage, and my faith in people. He made me look like a fool in front of my colleagues, my friends, my family. I don't just want him gone, I want him ruined. Now, I see the rage. It's buried deep, controlled and channeled, but it's there. Rebecca Pierce is a dangerous woman, and Evan has no idea what's coming for him. What do you need me to do? Keep documenting their activities. Get me copies of any financial records you can access, credit card statements, bank records, anything that shows how they're spending money, and most importantly, don't let them know you're on to them. They already suspect something. Lila's been asking questions, acting nervous. Good. Nervous people make mistakes. Let them worry, but don't confirm their suspicions. Act like the trusting husband for a little while longer. We spend the next hour going over details. Rebecca shows me how to use encrypted messaging apps, how to photograph documents without leaving digital fingerprints, how to track someone's location without their knowledge. She's clearly done this before. Are you sure you're a prosecutor and not a spy? I ask. Federal prosecutors learn to think like criminals. It's the only way to catch them. When we're finished, Rebecca pays for our drinks and prepares to leave. One more thing, Sam. When this goes public, and it will go public, you need to be prepared for the fallout. Small towns love scandals, but they also love to choose sides. Make sure you're on the right side. After she leaves, I sit at the bar nursing another beer and processing everything she told me. Nell refills my glass without being asked. That woman's trouble, she says. Good trouble or bad trouble? Depends on which side you're on. But if I were married to someone who crossed her, I'd be looking for a good hiding spot. I laugh despite myself. Any advice? Yeah, don't let revenge consume you. I've seen it happen too many times in this town. People get so focused on getting even that they forget to live their own lives. What if getting even is the only way to move forward? Then make sure you can live with the consequences. Because once you start down that road, there's no going back. I finish my beer and head home, Nell's words echoing in my mind. She's right about the consequences, but she doesn't understand the depth of my anger. Lila didn't just cheat on me, she made me complicit in my own humiliation. Every lie she told, every fake smile she gave me, every time she came home from being with him and pretended to love me. That's not something you forgive. That's something you punish. At home, I find Lila in the living room, laptop open, working on something that requires intense concentration. She looks up when I come in. "How was your afternoon?" she asks. "Fine. Had a few beers at Murphy's, watched the game." "Which game?" I realize I have no idea what sports are on today, but I improvise. "Baseball. Red Sox were playing." She nods and goes back to her laptop. I notice she's working on what looks like a resume. "Job hunting?" I ask casually. "Just updating my LinkedIn profile. It's good to keep it current." Another lie. She's probably preparing for the investigation at TechFlow, getting ready to jump ship if things go badly. Smart thinking. You never know when opportunities might arise. Exactly. I go upstairs and start implementing Rebecca's suggestions. I install a keylogger program on our shared computer, set up location tracking on Lila's phone, and create secure folders for all the evidence I'm collecting. By evening, I have a complete digital surveillance system in place. Every text message, every email, every website visit will be recorded and stored. If Lila and Evan are planning something, I'll know about it before they do. Around 8 p.m., my phone buzzes with an alert from the keylogger. Lila is instant messaging with someone and the conversation is being recorded in real time. Lila: "Sam's getting suspicious. He asked about work today, seemed to know more than he should." Unknown contact: "What did you tell him?" Lila: "Nothing, but I think someone at the office is talking. Maybe Marion?" Unknown contact: "I'll handle Marion. You focus on Sam, keep him distracted." Lila: "How?" Unknown contact: "Be the perfect wife. Make him feel guilty for doubting you. We just need a few more weeks." Lila: "A few more weeks for what?" Unknown contact: "To finish what we started. Trust me." The conversation ends, and I screenshot everything before it can be deleted. Evan is planning something, and it involves more than just the affair. Rebecca was right. They're not just cheating, they're scheming. I forward the screenshots to Rebecca, using the encrypted messaging app she showed me. Her response comes back within minutes. "Good work. Keep monitoring. This confirms what I suspected. They're planning to frame you for something. We need to move faster." "Frame me for what?" "Not sure yet, but Evan's been asking questions about you around town. Your finances, your business, your mental state. He's building a narrative. They're not just trying to cover up their affair, they're trying to destroy me preemptively. Make me look like the unstable, jealous husband so no one will believe me when the truth comes out." "What's our next move?" "Tomorrow night, there's a town council meeting. Evan will be there. TechFlow is presenting a proposal for a new development project. Lila will probably go to support him. I want you there too." "Why?" "Because it's time to start planting seeds. Let people see the three of you together. Let them notice the dynamics. When the truth comes out, they'll remember what they observed." I agree to the plan and spend the rest of the evening preparing. Tomorrow night, the game moves to a public stage, and I need to be ready to play my part. Lila comes to bed around midnight, sliding in beside me like nothing has changed between us. She even initiates intimacy, probably following Evan's advice to be the perfect wife. I play along, but inside I'm calculating. Every kiss is a lie. Every touch is manipulation. Every whispered endearment is part of their plan to destroy me. They want to play games? Fine. But they're about to learn that I'm better at this than they thought. The Millbrook Town Council meets in the basement of the old church on Main Street, a cramped space with folding chairs and fluorescent lights that flicker like fading fireflies. By 7 o'clock, the room is packed with residents curious about TechFlow's development proposal. I arrive early and take a seat in the back row where I can observe everything. Lila comes in 10 minutes later, wearing her best business suit and scanning the room until she spots me. She waves and takes a seat in the middle section, close enough to show support for Evan, but far enough to maintain plausible deniability. Evan enters with a small entourage, his assistant, a lawyer, and a man I recognize from the photos I took outside his house. They set up a presentation screen and distribute glossy brochures to the council members. The proposal is for a luxury resort development on the waterfront, complete with spa facilities, private beach access, and high-end condominiums. The kind of project that would transform Millbrook from a working-class fishing town into a playground for wealthy tourists. This development will bring jobs, tax revenue, and prestige to your community, Evan tells the council, his voice smooth and confident. TechFlow Solutions is committed to responsible growth that benefits everyone. I watch the faces in the audience. Some people look intrigued by the promise of economic development. Others seem skeptical about outsiders changing their town. A few look openly hostile. Old Tom Brennan, who's lived here his entire 78 years, raises his hand. What happens to the fishing boats that dock at that marina? Where are they supposed to go? We've identified alternative locations, Evan replies smoothly. The fishing industry will be accommodated. Where? You planning to build us a new harbor too? Evan's smile falters slightly. We're confident we can work out mutually beneficial arrangements. That's not an answer, son. The tension in the room is palpable. Evan clearly expected an easier sell, but he's dealing with people who've seen smooth-talking developers before. They're not impressed by his presentation or his promises. During the question period, I stand up. Sam Harrigan, Millbrook Hardware, I announce. I have a question about the financing for this project. Evan's eyes find mine across the room. I can see him trying to read my expression, wondering if I know about his relationship with my wife. What's your question, Mr. Harrigan? Who's funding this development? Is it TechFlow's money, or are you using outside investors? That's proprietary information, but I can assure you that all funding sources are legitimate and properly documented. I'm sure they are. I just think the community deserves to know who's really behind this project. Transparency builds trust. Murmurs of agreement ripple through the audience. Evan's jaw tightens, but he maintains his professional composure. Of course, we believe in transparency. All relevant financial information will be made available to the appropriate authorities. What about potential conflicts of interest? I continue. Are any TechFlow employees personally invested in this project? Now Evan looks genuinely uncomfortable. I'm not sure what you're implying, Mr. Harrigan. I'm not implying anything. I'm asking a direct question. Do you or any of your employees have personal financial stakes in this development? The room goes quiet. Everyone can sense the undercurrent of hostility between Evan and me, even if they don't understand the source. That would be disclosed in the appropriate filings, Evan stammers. Good to know. Transparency is so important, don't you think, honey? I direct this last question to Lila, who looks like she wants to disappear into her chair. Several people turn to look at her, then back at me, trying to piece together the dynamics they're witnessing. The meeting continues for another hour, but the damage is done. Evan's smooth presentation has been derailed by questions about transparency and conflicts of interest. The council votes to table the proposal pending further review. As people file out of the meeting, I make my way toward the front of the room. Lila intercepts me in the aisle. What was that about? She hisses under her breath. What was what about? I asked legitimate questions about a development project that could change our town. You were attacking Evan personally. Was I? I thought I was asking about business practices. She glances around to make sure no one is listening, then leans closer. Sam, you're embarrassing yourself. People are starting to talk. Let them talk. I've got nothing to hide. Do you? Her face goes pale. What's that supposed to mean? It means I think transparency is important, in business and in marriage. Before she can respond, Evan approaches us. Up close, I can see the sweat on his forehead despite the cool evening air. Mr. Harrigan, he says, extending his hand. I don't think we've been properly introduced. Evan Pierce. I shake his hand, gripping it perhaps a little too firmly. Sam Harrigan. I've heard a lot about you. All good things, I hope. Oh, very good things. My wife talks about you constantly. Evan's smile becomes strained. Lila's a valuable member of our team. I'm sure she is. Very dedicated. Always working late. Always going above and beyond. You're lucky to have her. We certainly appreciate her contributions. I bet you do. The conversation is loaded with subtext that all three of us understand, but the people around us just hear polite small talk. It's a delicate dance of threats and implications. Well, Evan says, I should get back to my team. Nice meeting you, Sam. Likewise. I'm sure we'll be seeing more of each other. After Evan walks away, Lila grabs my arm. We need to talk. At home. Now. The ride home is silent, but I can feel Lila's anger radiating from the passenger seat. She's furious that I confronted Evan publicly, but she can't say so without revealing why she cares so much about his reputation. At home, she finally explodes. What the hell was that performance tonight? Performance? I was participating in local democracy, asking questions about a development project. You were making a scene, embarrassing me and Evan in front of the whole town. Why do you care if Evan was embarrassed? He's just your boss, right? She stops pacing and stares at me. Of course he's just my boss. But he's also my boss. My career depends on maintaining a professional relationship with him. Is that what you call it? A professional relationship? What else would I call it? I don't know, Lila. You tell me. We stare at each other across the living room, both of us knowing we're on the edge of a conversation that will change everything. She's the first to blink. Sam, I think you need help. You're becoming paranoid, seeing conspiracies where none exist. Maybe you should talk to someone. And there it is. The strategy Rebecca warned me about. Paint me as unstable, paranoid, jealous. Make my accusations seem like the ravings of a delusional husband. You think I'm paranoid? I think you're under a lot of stress. The hardware store, money worries, our marriage, it's affecting your judgment. Our marriage is under stress? Why would our marriage be under stress, Lila? Because you don't trust me anymore. You question everything I do, everywhere I go. You're suspicious of my work relationships, my friendships, even my exercise classes. Yoga classes. Right. How's yoga going, by the way? She hesitates just long enough to confirm what I already know. Fine. It's going fine. Good. Exercise is important. Keeps you flexible. I head upstairs, leaving her standing in the living room with a confused expression. Let her wonder what I know and what I don't. Uncertainty is a weapon, and I'm just getting started using it. In our bedroom, I check my phone and find a message from Rebecca. Well done tonight. Evan called his lawyer after the meeting. They're panicking. What's the next step? Tomorrow morning, the investigation report gets delivered to TechFlow's board of directors. By noon, Evan will be suspended pending a full inquiry. That's when things get interesting. How so? Because desperate people do desperate things. Be ready. I set my phone aside and listen to Lila moving around downstairs. She's probably texting Evan, warning him about my behavior tonight, trying to figure out how much I know. Soon enough, they'll know exactly how much I know, and more importantly, they'll learn how much I'm willing to do about it. The final phase of my revenge is about to begin, and I'm ready for whatever comes next. Outside, the wind picks up, rattling the windows and making the old house creak. It sounds like the town itself is holding its breath, waiting for the storm that's coming. Tomorrow, everything changes. Tonight, I sleep better than I have in months. Epilogue. The last rep. The call comes at 7:43 a.m. I'm in the kitchen making coffee when Lila's phone rings with the urgent tone she reserves for work emergencies. She answers on the second ring, and I watch her face transform from sleepy confusion to wide-eyed panic. What do you mean suspended? She says, her voice rising. On what grounds? I can't hear Evan's response, but I don't need to. The investigation Rebecca mentioned has moved into high gear, and TechFlow's board is taking action. No, I can't come in today, Lila continues. They want to interview me separately, this afternoon. She hangs up and stares at her phone like it might explode. When she notices me watching, she tries to compose herself. Work crisis, she says weakly. Sounds serious. Anything I can help with? No, it's just corporate politics. Nothing for you to worry about. But she's the one worrying. Her hands are shaking as she pours coffee, and she keeps checking her phone for updates. At 9 a.m., my own phone buzzes with a text from Rebecca. Phase 2 initiated. Evan's been escorted from the building. Lila's interview is at 2 p.m. Are you ready for the finale? Ready. Good. Meet me at Murphy's Pub at 4 p.m. By then it'll all be over. I spend the morning at the hardware store, trying to act normal while my pulse races with anticipation. Joe notices my distraction. You okay, little brother? You seem wired. Just waiting for some news. Should hear something this afternoon. Good news or bad news? Depends on your perspective. At 2 p.m., I'm parked outside the TechFlow building when Lila arrives for her interview. She looks professional but nervous, checking her appearance in her car's rearview mirror before walking inside. The interview lasts 3 hours. When Lila finally emerges, she's no longer trying to look composed. Her face is red, her eyes are puffy, and she's clutching a manila envelope that probably contains her termination paperwork. She sits in her car for 10 minutes, crying and making phone calls, probably trying to reach Evan, but his phone has likely been confiscated as part of the investigation. I follow her home at a distance, giving her time to process what's happened. When I arrive, she's sitting at the kitchen table with the contents of the envelope spread out in front of her. They fired me, she says without looking up. What? Why? Violation of company policy. Inappropriate relationship with a supervisor. They have evidence, Sam. Photos, emails, expense reports. They know everything. I sit down across from her, trying to look shocked. Evidence of what? She finally meets my eyes. I've been having an affair with Evan. The words hang in the air between us. After months of lies and deception, she's finally telling the truth. Too late to save our marriage, but at least honest. How long? I ask. 3 months. It started as just friendship, but it became something more. I never meant for it to happen. But it did happen. Yes. And now you're both fired. Evan's suspended pending a criminal investigation. Apparently, he used company funds to pay for our meetings. That's fraud. Criminal investigation? The FBI is involved. Someone tipped them off about financial irregularities. Evan could go to prison, Sam. I nod sympathetically, while inside I'm celebrating. Rebecca delivered exactly what she promised, complete destruction of their careers and relationship. What happens now? I ask. I don't know. I need to find a lawyer, and Sam, I understand if you want a divorce. I betrayed your trust, and I can't undo that. No, I say. You can't. She starts crying again, and part of me feels sorry for her. But it's a very small part. The larger part remembers every lie she told, every fake smile she gave me, every time she came home from being with him and pretended nothing had changed. I should go, she says. Pack some things, stay with Kelsey for a while, give you space to think. That's probably best. She goes upstairs to pack, and I check my phone. A message from Rebecca. It's done. Evan's been arrested on federal fraud charges. The affair evidence was just the beginning. We found a pattern of financial crimes going back 2 years. He's looking at serious prison time. And Lila? She's a victim as much as a perpetrator, fired but not criminally liable. She'll have trouble finding work in her field, but she won't go to jail. Thank you. Thank you, Sam. I couldn't have done this without your help. Evan destroyed my marriage, but at least now he'll pay for it. At 4 p.m., I meet Rebecca at Murphy's Pub as planned. She's already there, sitting in a corner booth with a whiskey in front of her, looking more relaxed than I've ever seen her. It's as if the weight of everything that happened has finally lifted from her shoulders. The tension that has been with her for so long is gone, replaced by something that almost looks like contentment. How do you feel? she asks when I sit down across from her, her eyes searching mine for some kind of confirmation that she's not the only one who feels the strange relief of victory. Empty, satisfied, exhausted, all of the above, I reply honestly. I think I'm still processing everything. It's like my mind and body are still catching up to what happened today. That's normal, she says, her voice calm but with a knowing edge. Revenge is emotionally draining, even when it's justified. You spend so much time thinking about it, planning every move, and then when it finally happens, it leaves you feeling like you're on the other side of a storm. It's over, but you're still shaken. Nell, the bartender, brings me a beer without being asked. She's been working here for years, always having the scoop on the local gossip. Heard about the excitement at TechFlow today, she says, leaning in conspiratorially. Whole town's talking about it. What are they saying? I ask, already knowing the answer but still needing to hear it. That some fancy executive got caught with his hand in the cookie jar, Nell says with a sly smile. And that he was fooling around with a married woman. Shame about that. Seemed like such a nice couple. She's talking about Lila and me, of course. In a few hours, the entire town will know about the affair. Lila's reputation, which she worked so hard to build, will be as destroyed as her career. I can't help but feel a small satisfaction in knowing that the truth is finally out, even if it came at a cost. Small towns, Rebecca observes, after Nell walks away. They love a good scandal. Is it wrong that I'm enjoying this? I ask, the question more rhetorical than anything. But there's something about finally having the power and the truth in my hands that makes me question my own feelings. No, Rebecca replies without hesitation. They hurt you, humiliated you, and planned to destroy you. You had every right to fight back. What about you? What happens next for you? I ask, genuinely curious. She's been just as much a part of this journey as I have, and I wonder what she'll do now that the dust is settling. I'm filing for divorce, obviously, she says, looking at her drink with a distant expression. And I'm requesting a transfer back to Washington. Too many memories here. Too many reminders of what happened, what I lost, and what I was forced to become in the process. Will you be okay? I ask softly, not knowing if I'm asking about her future or just trying to offer some comfort. I'll be fine, she replies with a determined smile. I'm a survivor, Sam, just like you. We both are. We finish our drinks in comfortable silence, two wounded people who found a way to heal through justice. Not the healthiest coping mechanism, perhaps, but effective. At least it's better than pretending everything is fine, better than holding on to a life that was never really ours to begin with. When I get home later that night, I find Lila loading suitcases into her car. She looks up as I pull into the driveway, her face pale, eyes red from crying or exhaustion. Maybe both. It's a look that I've grown too familiar with over the past few months. I left my key on the kitchen counter, she says, her voice shaky. And I wrote down Kelsey's address in case you need to reach me. Okay, I say, my voice cold. The anger I once felt toward her now, just a distant echo. I'm too tired to argue, too tired to feel much of anything anymore. Sam, I know this doesn't mean much now, but I really am sorry. For everything. For what I put you through. I know you are, I say, the words feeling empty but necessary. This is the closure we both need, even if it doesn't feel like it. Do you think, someday, we might be able to be friends? She asks, almost tentatively, as if the question is a fragile thread she's not sure she wants to tug on. It's the kind of question people ask when they know they've crossed a line that can't be uncrossed, when they've burned bridges that will never be rebuilt. I pause, considering it seriously. The anger that once consumed me is already fading, replaced by something that feels like closure. There's no bitterness left, no lingering resentment. Just the exhaustion of having fought a war I never wanted to be a part of. Maybe. Someday, when enough time has passed. She nods, a quiet acceptance in her gaze. Without another word, she gets in her car and drives away, taking with her 3 years of marriage and months of deception. She's gone, and all that remains is the aftermath. Inside the house, I pour myself a drink and sit in the living room. The silence is overwhelming. The house that once felt like a home now feels too big, too empty. My phone buzzes with notifications, text messages from friends and family who've heard about the scandal, offering support and asking questions. Some of them are genuine, others just curious. Everyone has an opinion, but it all feels irrelevant now. I turn off the phone and sit back, staring at the walls, letting the weight of everything settle in. 6 months ago, I was a trusting husband who believed in the sanctity of marriage, in the idea that love could overcome anything. Tonight, I'm a man who orchestrated the complete destruction of 2 people's lives, Lila's and mine. The transformation should disturb me more than it does. I should feel guilty, or at least conflicted. But I don't. I feel something else entirely. Relief. As I sit there in the stillness of the house, I realize I'm not disturbed at all. I'm free. Free from lies, free from deception, free from the constant feeling that something was wrong with my life, but not knowing what it was. The weight that I've been carrying for so long is gone. Tomorrow, I'll start rebuilding. New routines, new relationships, maybe even a new location. The hardware store is doing well, and Joe can handle things if I decide to take some time to figure out what comes next. There's a world of possibilities out there, waiting for me to take the first step. Tonight, though, I'm going to finish my drink and go to bed early. Tomorrow is the first day of whatever comes next, and I want to be ready for it. Outside, the wind has died down, and the town is quiet. The storm has passed, leaving everything changed in its wake. The air feels clearer, as though the weight of the past few months has finally lifted. I raise my glass in a silent toast to Rebecca Pierce, wherever she is tonight. We made good partners in revenge, and I hope she finds the peace she's looking for. She deserves it. Then, I toast to myself, for learning that sometimes the only way to win is to stop playing by other people's rules. The game is over, and I won.